can be, it is quite, I mean, it does show that in a kind of there has been some kind of human intellect and human understanding when it was investigated to extreme and to such a extreme conceptual framework, they have always ended up with consciousness. Because I'm here, as soon as my awareness picks up, I am seeing, I am becoming aware, I'm conscious. So this is what makes this sort of consciousness as being some sort of a very, it holds that sort of a supreme place in this philosophy and in the spiritual inquiry, and many traditions everywhere we go, they always regard as consciousness as something beyond all this imagination. So if I quote some of the texts from the Upanishads, and they have got as a hierarchy, they call it. We have got this kind of a mind that this is the hierarchy in Upanishad. They say there is a mind, beyond mind there is intellect, beyond intellect there is what is called consciousness, and beyond consciousness they have got what is called ultimate Atman, or some sort of Brahman, that sort of ultimate reality. And that's what they kind of go in that line of thinking, or some sort of a, okay, this, if even if it is not thinking, okay, let's say this consciousness is something that is a substrate for all the other layers of experiences. And that's what this Vedantas and that's Upanishads, they are saying that all these kind of emotions and perceptions, the attachment, that sort of feeling, death, birth, all these sort of things, these are all what is called anomalies, or some sort of disturbances to this supremely kind of overarching consciousness, which does not go any sort of commotion, like feeling, perception, emotions. It is unaffected, it is undestroyed, it is ever present, it is completely it is all pervading, and it is the essence of all the universe. And every being who are experiencing joy or suffering, all these are fleeting experiences. They have got what is called their essence, which is the Atman. And this then ultimate liberation is when the Atman merges with Brahman. Brahman is their kind of ultimate, that overarching, that sort of awareness, that sort of supreme kind of awareness that is governing the whole universe. So this is the kind of a philosophy of the Upanishads, and that is all. I mean, I would not want to say too much about that. It's just, again, it's just, I do not want to say something that is, yeah, I can, this is all intellectual exercise. So rather than going into that sort of, satisfying my intellectual, concern and queries, I would go for that direct experience. Is that what what we see in the practice is, there is that sort of layers of perceptions, and I mentioned that consciousness is just a perception. Yeah, it's a very, very refined, and it's a very, very kind of a let's say experience. But even that is a layer that doesn't stay with us, or that doesn't hold water. It just wash away, and there is a deeper experience. So that, in that sense, this consciousness is, so it's just one fabrication. Yeah. So we don't need to analyze this and comes to some sort of, let's say that, okay, this is not an intellectual exercise. So this consciousness and nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, and cessation of perception and feeling, which is called Nirodha Samapatti in Pali, in Buddha's term, is that's where we see what is the direct experience is saying. The direct experience is saying is that there is no such thing called ultimate, all-pervading, supreme, completely, supernatural consciousness. They just, they are just imagination. They are just fabrications. So when you are letting go, and when you are abandoning to such an extent that if you keep letting go, as the Buddha says, keep letting go, don't keep anything, then you even that sort of, even the subtlest layer of perception has to let go of. And we leave the consciousness far behind and much further, and there is even that perception, that even the perception is let go of. So consciousness comes after perception. So what happens is that we feel immediately with feeling there is a perception, and when one feels and perceives, then consciousness becomes registered. Yeah. So if you do not perceive, you don't you don't conceive, you are not conscious of. So if you do not have perception, if you do not have a feeling, your consciousness simply cannot remain. It's just a phenomenon. It is just a consciousness is a potential. Consciousness is a dependently. It is a unstable. It is a vacuous. It's a very rookie. It's just flaky phenomenon, which has got such a shallow foundation. So this consciousness is, that's why there is no need to keep this and hold on to this consciousness as being something completely is the essence of this universe. Is that when you have let go of perception and feeling, there is no room for consciousness. So, and this is not a philosophy, this is not a science, this is not a theory, this is a direct experience. And that's what we see in our direct experience, in our meditative exercise. And once anybody once when goes down into experience that cessation or persistent and feeling, then one would come to the contact of that sort of unconditioned element. Everything in this universe, anything in this universe, not only material universe, but also the mental universe, they are dependently arisen. Dependent on what? Dependent on causes and conditions. Dependent on cause and condition. So anything, you can take any entity and you can immediately say, does it have that sort of a property for its own independent existence, independence? There is nothing in this universe that can stay independent. You have to step outside this universe. You have to let go of this universe to arrive at this state of unconditioned. And that's what we do, is after letting go of all this perception, after ceasing of that all the perception, then you have stepped outside the universe, the realm of the condition. You have stepped out of the realm of condition, which is the universe is the realm of conditioned. Then you step into the realm of unconditioned, and that realm of unconditioned is void, is empty. It is you make a contact with emptiness contact, directionless contact, and desirelessness contact. So that is what the emerging out of cessation leads to you to contact with the unconditioned. And when that unconditioned has been made a contact with, and based on that feeling arises, and you come back to the feeling, then you come back to the domain of, if you start to react to that feeling, then that reaction generates what? Perception. And that perception generates what? It generates consciousness. And that consciousness generates what? It generates, as long as you have your body and mind, as long as you are alive, that consciousness lands into the mind, Namarupa. What is Namarupa? Your body, and you have got a feeling perception. They again start to boot up this the operating system. Yeah, it lost that sort of dependent origination, the operating system. Yeah, then the six sense bases arise. The consciousness, the contact arise, your feeling arise, and so on. So this feedback loop start to self-sustain itself, that there is no way that you can put an end to this loop without the mental development. Yeah, so that is the path of stepping outside this universe into the realm of unconditioned. And that is the kind of that is where we let go of space, we let go of time, we let go of consciousness, we let go of all the perception, and we let go of the realm of conditioned, and we let go of realm of universe. And that is the kind of the process. Yeah, and it's not there is no theory. It's I am inclined to make a theory, but it just I didn't need to. Yeah, it just I didn't invent that. Nobody invented that. Buddha didn't invent this. It's not an invention. And it's going, ongoing. This is how this, kind of our experiences work. And nobody is need to kind of come up with that sort of, a theory to describe or this to put this into the sort of elaborate framework. We are not in a scientist. We don't need to follow that sort of kind of scientific methodologies, yeah, because we are in a different realm of direct experience. Does not need to abide by that sort of authority of you must abide, you must have that sort of have somebody to check your results. You have to do the modeling. You need to prove the results. You need to test it. You need to publish it. No, we don't need to. Everything happens in front of you. Awareness. So this is the realm of direct experience. So I am kind of trying to wrap up all this discussion. So, and I have. So now I have made all this kind of materials that I was going to capture. So finally I have just I'll finish it off soon, and it's been only few weeks. So I was looking at the work from Donald Hoffman. Then I got somewhat pulled into to see what is being done in that respect, and I found the work from Bernardo Kastrup, and I thought that okay, let me give it a bit of hearing of what he said and his theory. I do not particularly say theory, because he's a philosopher and quite a philosopher based on form analytical mind. So I haven't seen his equations or some sort of models, but his idea of analytical idealism sounded fairly rigorous, and sort of it is based quite a lot on the sound let's say basis, because he does explain them purely based on foundation of our experience and our let's say our logics and inferences, yeah. And what I found interesting and what I found very compelling to hear what he said is that whatever experiences that we have, nothing in our experience that is material. Anything that we experience, regardless of whatever pain and whether you have been hit by brick or you have pricked by the needle, or you have been experiencing the extreme heat or hunger, it's all mind. There is nothing that we experience that is coming out of physical world, or that's something solid entity that is entering into our mind and manipulating our experiences. So our experiences are completely detached from the domain of physical stuff, and no matter how much of physical abstraction that you do to try to create an experience, that always they remain disjoint. Fundamentally, there is no way that you can port those experiences from one domain to another. So, say you created a simulation of, let's say, a headache, for example. And that's by looking at the neurons, and that's sort of, all this sort of mapping of the neuron, and that's okay. Here you go. This is precisely what causes your neurons to get contracted, and that's how it generates the headache. So you can bring that map, that can you generate that sort of mental image, and you cannot say that that is equal to this headache that you are having. They are completely in an orthogonal dimension. So, and that strikes me very well, and I do, and that has somewhat given me that sort of. I have borrowed quite a lot of his perspective into today's call, and just what he said is absolutely, that's how the mind and body works. Is that it is not that body is what the mind, body is what is creating mind. No, body is not creating mind. Body is affecting the mind in the way the perception of mind are constructed, or the perception of mind is configured in the way where the receptors of the mind, where the kind of the area of mind are prone to kind of that impact the impression, or that sort of say some sort of signals, then mind react by generating that sort of perception, or that sort of experience that commensurate, that correlate, that follows that sort of impact. Yeah, so it's kind of, you can probably say that you have got a magnetic induction. So you have got a electric current you have passed through this magnet, and you have got another magnet which is another side, where you put another wire coil. You pass the current through one wire, and you receive the signal from another wire. These two are completely separated. But what you change the voltage in this particular wire, it has got an instant effect on the reception of this particular side of the wire. So the body can have that sort of impact on the mind instantly, but they are completely separate domains. So this is how I see it. Mind and body are correlated, but that does not mean that our mind is in the brain. What we experience is it just brain neurons firing, and that neuron toggling that synapses that connecting, and this, it's not that. It's just these things are happening, those processes happen in that their domain, in the cell, let's say cell mechanism, cell decay, or the damage, or whatever cell, the transformation they are undergoing, their imaging, their reflection, their induction, that does correlate and affect the mind in that way, to reflect on that. So there is a very strong correlation but it is not, one thing is not a byproduct of the other. Yeah, so mind is not a byproduct of the body or a matter. Yeah, it's just it's not the brain is brain is just the stuff. It's just a fat, 90% fat, and that's sort of water, and it is bit too kind of, let's say, too naive or preposterous to think that brain is what creating the consciousness, or the brain is creating this perception, the feeling, and all this, the chain of mental phenomena that we are constantly in flux. And it's just, our mind has got that tendency to react to that sort of body in a very peculiar manner. So, and what is the in that sense, uh, it's just, I showed some relationship between body and mind. And one thing that I found it really very interesting is, uh, our consciousness, our perception as a human being, we tend to have that sort of isolated accumulation of our tendencies. We tend to grasp onto our emotion, our perception, and we start to build up our identity, and we start to be uh, dissimilar or be disjoint with other by creating that sort of identity. So it's kind of our ego, emotion, and all that sort of things is are what sustaining our experiences, which is which can be identified because of all this personalization. It is like I saw a diagram, a picture of a great expanse of water, and when there is a lake and a big, let's say, ocean, and it has got no ripple, it's just a great expanse of water. And that is the state of mind, and that is the state of experience when there is no, when there is, when anybody who is not taking any of those things personal, any emotions, any mental phenomena, if somebody does not grasp, if it remains like a water, if it remains just like a nature, then there is no arising of those vortices, yeah, those ripples, and that sort of what is called the kind of a current that is that is now, that great expanse of water has now got visible location of those ripples and that sort of currents, vortices. These are all because those individuals have started to identify with that sort of emotions and the feeling, the consciousness, and it started to generate that, and it started to get identified. And this is what has made us to become individualized. And that is what he calls it, that whirlpool is a disassociated process, which he calls a life. Life is a disassociated process. And I couldn't agree more. It's just disassociated from the nature of reality. From the nature of reality, it has popped out of, it's like a burst bubble that is in constant, is like a rebel that is trying to go against the current of go against the flow, and that's sort of creating that sort of unnecessary suffering and that sort of reaction, and all this reaction, any traces of reaction is gonna cause us and keep us in the chain, in this sort of infinite loop of feedback loop of being trapped in this reaction. And that is what this dependent origination is. It is just sustained. It is so efficient, self-sustained engine of this universe, our experience. It is so efficient. Like maybe even if you had a fusion reactor, it might not be 100% efficient. But this dependent origination is so efficient. There is nothing wasted. Everything is recycled. Everything is processed, and it creates a new experience all the time. So in that respect, I found a quite a good and good let's say agreement in that. And it's really a very good example. And this in fact the vortex is an example that Buddha has also given. And that vortex that Buddha has given as an example, as an aberration from the norm, Buddha describes what is the vortex. That vortex is consciousness and namarupa. When consciousness and namarupa they collide, it generates that vortex that keeps us trapped in this samsaric, in this universe indefinitely. Consciousness arises and it lands on the namarupa, and namarupa gets supported by consciousness, and it just keeps it gives fuel to the namarupa, and namarupa gives fuel to the consciousness, and consciousness gives fuel to the namarupa. So although namarupa I didn't break it down, it's just the namarupa is the body, and this rupa is the fourth grade element or the body, and nama is the feeling, perception, intention, contact, and attention. When nama and rupa they come together, the phenomena, the universe, the experiences get sustained for countless eons, and billions and trillions of eons are the time we have, and we have been in this universe for trillions and trillions of mahakapa, or times four of eons. Yeah. So this dependent origination is the most efficient, the 100% efficient engine that is self-sustained. It is purely running on the feedback loop. It doesn't need any external source. It is purely run by mind itself, and it is always finding a body to land into. Yeah. So once we lose the human existence, it may find another human body as a platform, or it may find an animal or any creature to land into. So the consciousness would land into that particular experience. That is, it is all self-generated. We have dug a hole to land into that experience. It's just for us to blame because of our our attitude and our personalization. We dug a hole, or we created some uplifted experiences to go higher in the realm of existence. But all these experiences, they are just it just goes forever like that. You just it's just like changing a room from one hotel to another, but never been able to check out. That's kind of Hotel California situation that we have. I think I have done quite a lot of and I really finding it really interesting today to go through this sort of fun stuff. I did not spend much time on the Dhamma, the Buddha's Dhamma, but I tried to give that perspective as to where the Buddha's Dhamma come into. If you look a bit deeply, and if you let go of that sort of notion, and if you do not have any agenda, then you can realize that that's what the experience is all boiled down into. Don't look at this from the lens of, oh, this Buddha is talking about this, it's a religious view. He's trying to promote the Buddha's philosophy. No, this is not a philosophy. It's a pure direct experience of mind. And you just come and see. So that's what the Buddha is saying. Just whatever he has described is it's just it's a natural process that is unfolding in front of your awareness. And because we cannot tread this path without having that sort of purified, virtuous, and sort of moral life is a key. And that puts us into that sort of a framework where people started to think that, okay, his behavior look a bit religious. He stays away from doing all these sort of activities that we consider is real, world. These are the things that we have to do in the world. Telling lies, abstaining from killing living beings. People think that, okay, this is too religious. Not really. It's about keeping the mind in the purified states, so we can do that deeper introspection as to how we can then go much deeper into that's a layer of mind, how it starts to unravel, and let's go all these sort of deeper layers. So it's really, that's in that sense, keeping this very moral life is absolutely necessary. And unfortunately, this is what this is the reason Buddha's path is considered as a religion by scientific community, and but yeah, this is how, when it comes to mind, you cannot just do your investigation of mind as if you are doing the experiment in your laboratory. You need to train your mind, then you can observe the mind. Yeah. So this is how it differs from scientific approaches, is that you need to bring that sort of fertile ground, that sort of to nourish your mind, to be free from those qualities that cause unwholesome thoughts, the regrets, and that sort of pain. We need to have that sort of uplifted mind of no regret, to embark into this science of mind. Then we can directly experience what the Buddha's path is all about. Yeah. So I think that's where I would like to end my call today. And actually, this call today, I'm making it as some sort of a work to hopefully to make it into some sort of chapters, so I can hopefully one day I can try make it into a book in a some sort of a volume that I can hopefully give it to people who might be interested to read. Yeah. So obviously there are a lot of work I need to do, but hopefully I can keep some of those materials to give for people who would like to investigate. That's all I say. Hope it has been useful to you. Thank you very much.